coming up. Two of rock and roll's greatest storytellers share the hilarious story of writing a double-sided #1 hit. Now, the two hits, they came from very different experiences. One came when the guitarist, who was not from the U.S., visited Haight Ashbury for the very first time. He witnessed this tough guy get cut down to size by his lady. I mean, she cussed him out in front of a bunch of onlookers, some of his buddies, and she said a phrase that this guitarist had never heard, but he turned it into a #1 hit. The other song came to the band on the spot when they were playing a live show. The guitarist, he was just vamping on something, and the singer spit out random lyrics. Luckily, a bootlegger was recording it because they forgot it after, but this song became massive. The double interview is coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you want the straight stories behind rock's legendary hits, make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the bell so you always know when our new ones drop. We have great interviews from the legends, the stories of the songs, your favorites. Also, go check out our exclusive content on Patreon and check out our latest merch. It's about keeping the music alive. So I'm excited to bring you another episode from our series Revelations. This is where featured artists go very deep on their greatest songs, stories you won't find anywhere else. This one's hilarious. So far on this channel, we've had some great stories from Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman from the legendary band The Guess Who. Both are phenomenal songtellers, as I call them. Today, it's no exception. We have an interview with both of them where they tell the story of one of the biggest double A-side #1 hits ever. No Sugar Tonight and American Woman.
No sugar tonight in my coffee. No sugar tonight in my tea. American Woman. Baby said get away.
Now, we've never had a feature on No Sugar. We did have Burton Cummings' side of American Woman, but not Bachman's. So today, it's all new. First of all, No Sugar Tonight, it's a medley. It's actually No Sugar Tonight / New Mother Nature. And it was the B-side of the American Woman single without the New Mother Nature section. But then the single was officially released as American Woman / No Sugar Tonight.
American woman, gonna mess your mind. American woman.
It peaked at #1 in both America and Canada for 3 weeks straight. So technically, both songs were #1 hits, just like the Beatles used to do. It's really a lost art. So Randy Bachman actually is how you say his last name, but people have said it, Bachman Turner Overdrive, so much he goes by Bachman. Anyway, No Sugar Tonight, it came from a really hilarious incident that Randy Bachman witnessed when a tough guy got absolutely cussed out by his lady in front of all of his friends and a bunch of onlookers. Randy heard her rant, and it was so good, he had to hurry and write it down. It became a #1 hit.
I'm falling from the skies.
You're going to get the story firsthand. Then American Woman came to the band when they were playing a live show. I mean, Randy Bachman was just messing around with a riff between songs. Burton jumps on stage. He feels like it's such a great riff. He starts rapping on these nonsense words, and they knew it was going to be a huge hit, but they started to forget it after the show was over.
Well, come and knocking around my door. Don't wanna see your shadow no more.
Luckily, there was this kid that was illegally bootlegging the show. Find out how they tracked him down, find out how they created this classic hit, what it's really about. There's a lot of interpretations. And also why singer Burton Cummings was absolutely pissed at a change that was made on the double-sided #1 hit. Also, not to add insult to injury here, but The Guess Who is yet another great band that has been shut out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Lonely feeling deep inside.
Now, I've heard it through the grapevine that the prominent decision maker there for years has a hatred for The Guess Who and for Grand Funk Railroad and Phil Collins and a few others, and has a mission to just shut them out forever. Really ridiculous, but they're in the People's Hall of Fame for sure. Now, let's get into the interview. I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, as we get there. I've become a bit of an eyewear aficionado because of Zenni. I love having assorted pairs of glasses, different looks, different colors. You can do the same thing without breaking the bank. Click on the info button right here, and you'll get your perfect look. You can actually try them on before you buy. Fashionable, quality, at a low price. Get Zenny today. Here's the guys. No Sugar Tonight. It was actually number one on the RPM magazine and number one on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks because it, again, double A side. Cashbox did it independently, so American Woman was number one and No Sugar Tonight was number 39. But everybody remembers both those songs because they bought the single and they were both on them. I heard No Sugar Tonight as much as I heard American Woman, growing up.
No sugar tonight in my coffee. No sugar tonight in my tea.
Tell me about that, because I know that stemmed from a visit to California when you were walking down the street carrying a bunch of records. Tell me about that.
We had 4 gigs where we were the opening act for Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. And Alice Cooper, who he had just discovered. And it was Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. We got to San Francisco. We had played our gig there. I went down to Haight Ashbury the next day to see hippies. There was none there. It was Monday morning. The guy said, "Do you want to see that guy who was on Rolling Stone with the peace sign on his naked chest, blonde, beautiful blonde curly hair with flowers in his hair, playing a guitar, with the guitar open to get money?" He said, "That's at Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley." So I take the bus over to Berkeley. I'm there where the university is. I'm on Telegraph Avenue. I buy a bunch of vinyl in a head shop then, which was all bootleg. And you had to get it, sneak it out, and put it in your car because the FBI was busting everyone because there was Neil Young and Bob Dylan, Rolling Stone bootlegs and Beatle bootlegs out there. You go in and bought them and you had to smuggle them out. It was really cool. So I'm walking to put them in my car and 3 guys are coming at me and they're looking at me, giving me a real glare. And they're like ex-vets. You could tell they're veterans. They're older guys. They got bulging muscles, tattoos, ripped off sleeves. I'm wearing a little Canadian red maple leaf showing I'm a peace-loving Canadian. They all want to draft dodge to Canada, and they're pissed off that we live in Canada. We're not being drafted, and we played our gigs and we're going right back home. So these 3 guys are giving me a glare like they're going to rip me apart. And I'm alone, going to put my vinyl in the trunk of the car. And as they get real close to me, this other little car pulls up with a wrecked muffler, and they recognize the sound of this car. And out of these 3 macho men, 2 of them look at each other and leave. And there's 1 guy left standing there. And a woman gets out of the car about 5 feet tall and gets into the face of this guy, who's not Mr. Macho anymore. His buddies are gone. He's standing there sheepishly looking at me, shrugs his shoulders, and she goes up to him and says, "You no good bum. You're supposed to be out looking for a job. I don't mean sitting, having a coffee, reading want ads. You're supposed to be getting a job. I know you're out here with your homies checking out all the chicks at university. You left me at home again with the kids. You didn't take out the garbage when you left." And she goes through this whole list of stuff. She said, "Get in the car." He gets in the car. She slams the door. He shrugs. She said, "Furthermore, baby, when you get home, you ain't getting no sugar tonight." And I go, wow, whatever that means. I know what that means. And I wrote No Sugar Tonight. It was kind of a risky song.
In the silence of her mind.
I had to change the lyrics before we could put it on record. There's an original version of it somewhere on one of the Guess Who compilation where Burton sings some of the real lyrics that I'd written about when we get into bed, you ain't getting no sugar tonight, that kind of thing. We had to leave those off the real single. And it became like Jack Richardson picked it to be a B-side, a double A side, which was amazing.
And New Mother Nature is another great one. When you presented to the label and Burton, your usual collaborator, they liked it but thought it was too short. Isn't that how New Mother Nature was born? Making the song kind of a sweet?
Well, when Burton and I would get together, we'd play each other a song. And I would see that he liked the beginning of my song or the hook, but the rest bored him. Then he'd play me a song. And we would take the parts that really excited each other and put them together. But we each had written a song. And it was very weird because we're trying something different. We get together every Saturday morning at about 11 o'clock, work till 2 or 3, go home, have a shower, have a bite, and go play our gig. I play him a song, this very unusual song. It's in F sharp. Who writes a song in F sharp on guitar? Nobody. I don't use a capo. I'm really playing chords. That's weird. I've got a song in piano in F sharp as well. Let's hear your song. Let's hear mine. The Beatles had Day in a Life. I said, let's put the two songs together. You don't need to write a middle eight for mine. I don't need to write a hook for yours. Let's put them together.
Jocko says yes, and I believe him when we talk about the things I say.
See, we had those two songs together.
It's the new Mother Nature taking over.
We'll have our own day in the life. So we start with No Sugar into New Mother Nature. And then guess what? In the end, they could overlap each other. They can go, lonely feeling, Mother says yes, and deep inside. And they fit over each other. It's like row, row, row your boat, row, row. We're doing a row, row, row your boat or Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Let's do that. So we did that. And it was really fun. And it ended up being like a cool suite of putting two songs together.
And then when Jack decided to cut New Mother Nature out of it and just put No Sugar as the flip side, kind of pissed me off, but we were having so much success, I wasn't going to be petty about it. No Sugar and New Mother were too long for the flip side. It was about 6 minutes.
The way you approach that chorus, I just always love your vocal on that. No sugar tonight, and the da 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 da.
No sugar to run with me. Da, 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 da.
And Jack always, and to Jack's credit, it was a very commercial song, No Sugar.
Silence of her mind. Quiet movement.
Whereas New Mother Nature is more of a drug song.
Yes, and I believe inside the things I say. Find the corner.
But I got my retribution years later when Friends of Distinction recorded New Mother Nature without No Sugar Tonight.
Mother Nature taking over.
And it was a beautiful R&B version, and I think Randy was a bit jealous of that. I stopped being petty a long time ago, but it really bothered me at the time. No, because those two songs were meant to be married forever, you know. We still do it that way on stage. As a matter of fact, that's what we open our show with, is No Sugar and New Mother. Just the way it is, the 6-minute version on the album.
American woman, stay away from me.
And then, of course, America Woman, not only the Guess Who's #1 hit in America, but one of the most iconic rock songs ever recorded. Every generation knows it.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to say, these are the 100 classic rock songs that have changed the world, it would easily be in there, probably even be in the top 50. Seems like everybody, like you said, they have a different story. Tell me your perspective.
I broke a string. I had my 59 Les Paul that had a Bigsby on it. So if you know what a Bigsby is, your string comes out, it goes over the bridge, it goes under the Bigsby, it goes over the Bigsby where there's a spring, and you use your wang bar, and you get, it puts your pitch up and down on guitar. So when you're trying to change a string, it's really tough. In the dark, no roadie, no tuner, no stool, no spare guitar. I break a string. Burton says, we're taking a break. Randy's got to change a string. So I get this 59 Les Paul, which weighs about 14 pounds, trying to hold it up, trying to put a string on. I don't have a table, putting it on my lap. I'm kneeling in front of his electric piano on the stage, and I'm tuning to the piano, gong, 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 and I'm tuning up my guitar. And as I'm doing that, let me get the guitar again. As I'm doing that, and I start to play that, I'm on stage on my knees in the dark in front of his piano. And I start to play that riff. And the whole audience who's now talking, their heads snap and look at the stage, and I go, oh my God, I can't forget this riff. So I start to play it and I stand up. I'm standing up on stage. The stage is still dark, but I see the drummer and I go like this. He comes on stage, he starts playing. And Jim Cale comes and starts playing bass. And I see Burton, he's out the back door of the Broom and Stone's open. He's out in the parking lot getting something out of a guy's trunk. And I could see him out there because it's wintertime in Canada and the full moon. And you can see on the reflection off the snow, I can see out in the parking lot.
Broom and Stone,
Broom and Stone,
Tell me that story. I love
Broom
it.
and Stone curling rink, Brampton, Ontario. We were doing 2 shows, so I guess we weren't that big yet because we were still doing 2 shows a night. Yeah, this guy was always a collector looking for the rare records.
Yeah.
And this guy knew that, I guess from the rumors and interviews I had done, and he had a bunch of Gene Vincent singles, some on 78, some on 45, and I wanted to get these. And I'm bargaining with this guy. I'm trying to cut some kind of a deal with him outside, and I hear the guys start up the second show. They're on stage already. And I say to this guy, look, I'm sorry, man, but I'm supposed to be up there on stage. I run in.
And Burton runs on stage. And he says, what is this? I said, just sing anything. Sing anything.
American woman, stay away from me.
They had the riff going, and I just started singing whatever came into my head. You know, all that stuff about war machines and ghetto scenes and colored lights can hypnotize, just making it up.
Colored lights can hypnotize, sparkle someone else's eyes.
And we had been touring the States where we would go into a city and we would be the only men in that city between 18 and 30. Everyone else was gone, drafted to Vietnam. So the women were all over us. And we were kind of like musicians. We weren't out there to party. We wouldn't do our gig to get money to pay our bills and everything. When Burton was on stage, he'd just say, American woman, stay away from me. American woman, get away. That was it.
Woman, stay away from me.
He sang it 4 times. We played the solo. Then he came to me the next day and he said, I think we got something. And so that song came out of the blue. I remember we went to record it. We couldn't get it. We just couldn't get it. It happened as a jam on stage. So Jack Richardson, our producer, said, okay, I want to create that night. Okay, turn out the lights in the studio. You guys go sit in the room. Randy, you go out there alone. Get on your knees. Tune up your guitar. And play and start to play. And we'll have the tape machines rolling. So I go out there, I tune up, and I start to play it. And then the band comes and they start to play. And then we have that demo. I still have that demo. I can send it to you. It's amazing. Then we took that and copied our own demo, got a better speed, played my Gretsch guitar through the Fender amp, got my Les Paul to play the lead, which sat on top very nicely, very melodically. And boom, that song came out of nowhere.
There was a kid there bootlegging the show on a cassette machine,
It
which
just
was
barely come out.
fairly new invention at the time, a portable cassette machine. It was still pretty big. The guy had it on his shoulder. It was still pretty big to drag to a concert, but somehow we got a hold of the cassette later, listened to it. We thought that was a pretty good hook. They liked the fact that I was singing American Woman and blah, 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 and we ended up recording it. I might have changed a few lyrics later, but basically that's the way it came out on stage.
Well, it sounds very stream of conscience.
It
was.
Really it was a stream of consciousness, one of those Bob Dylan moments where it just comes out of you and you don't really know where. Neil Young talks about that all the time.
Yeah.
When he's writing a song, it's almost like it's coming through him from somewhere else. That's what happened with American Woman.
Hey, make sure to leave us a comment about this double-sided #1 hit, about the Guess Who, great duo of singer Burton Cummings, quite possibly the most underappreciated singer of the 70s, and the great Randy Bachman, who would go on to form another multi-platinum juggernaut in Bachman Turner Overdrive, BTO for short. What are your memories of these songs and these bands? What do you think about them getting shut out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Let's have a great discussion below. If you dig our content, we invite you to subscribe below. Love to have you. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friend.